game 4 of the 2014 Greendale Panther football season. Tonight, Greendale finds themselves back home hosting the Berlin Eisenhower Lions. It looks like the weather won't be ideal as it's supposed to be cold and rainy all night long. It's also Parents' Night in Greendale, of which the parents of the players are recognized. Greendale comes in tonight 3-0, while Eisenhower comes in at 2-1. The Lions would be kicking first to start the game. After the return, Greendale would start from their 28. It didn't take long for the Panthers to strike first as quarterback Josh Ringelberg threw a perfect pass to Josh Michaels, who was screaming down the left sideline for a 60-yard scoring strike. Michaels, who also does the kicking, would split the uprights, making the score 7-0 with 11:38 left in the first quarter of play. After the ensuing kick, New Berlin would start their first drive of the night from their 36. They ran 4 plays, taking the ball to Greendale's 43 before having to line up for a punt. The Panthers would start this drive from their 20 as the punt rolled into the end zone. They ran 8 plays, taking the ball all the way to Ike's 8 before Ringelberg hooked up with Michaels again on an 8-yard scoring strike. The extra point was good as Greendale increased their lead by a score of 14-0 with 6:14 left in the first quarter. After the kick, the Lions would start their drive from the 25. This time the Panthers forced them to line up for a punt on their 25 as they went 3 and out. On the play, speed demon Ty Ramirez would partially block the kick, and when it was all said and done, Greendale had the ball on Ike's 32. The Panthers picked up right where they left off. On the third play, Ringelberg threw another perfect pass to David Johnson in the back of the end zone for a 23-yard scoring strike. Michaels made his kick, and Greendale now jumped all over Eisenhower by a score of 21-0 with 4:18 still left in the first quarter. The Lions ended up with a great return from the end zone, which wasn't called a touchback for whatever reason, and would start from their 45. They ran 3 plays before looking at a 4th and 3 from the Panthers' 47. The Neon defense stuffed the play, giving the ball right back to their offense on their 48. On the very next play, Ringelberg threw a rare interception that was returned to Ike's 47. New Berlin then ran 7 plays, taking the game into the second quarter before turning the ball over on downs on Greendale's 36. Behind some great runs by speedster Angel Ramirez, they eventually got the ball down to the 9 before Ringelberg threw a laser to tight end Tristan Pipp in the end zone for his 4th TD pass of the night. The point after try was good, making the score 28-0 with 9:46 now left in the second quarter. After the kick, the Lions would begin from their 24. They hooked up 7 plays before having to line up for another punt from Greendale's 47. The punt would go out of bounds at the Panther 30, which is where Ringelberg and the rest of the Air Force would have to begin. After a few mishaps, the Panthers ended up in a deep hole on their 10, looking at a 3rd and 25. Head coach Rob Stoltz called in a quick kick to take them out of the poor field position. The ball would come to rest at Ike's 47, which is where the Lions would take over. They ran off 7 plays before the quick Panther defense finally said that's enough and forced them to line up for another punt on Greendale's 45. This time the punter had a little trouble handling the ball, which is not good because it would just be a matter of milliseconds before Chris Phillips would get there and make the tackle on Ike's 40. 4 plays later, Ringelberg would find yet another one of his weapons in Ty Ramirez for a 21-yard scoring strike. This would be Ringelberg's 5th touchdown pass of the night. Michael's kick was true again, blowing this game wide open by a score of 35-0 with 1:23 left in the first half. Eisenhower would run 2 plays after the kick to end the first half of play. The start of the second half would find Greendale kicking into Berlin. With the running clock, the Lions would start their first drive of the half from their 21. The Lions just couldn't deal with Greendale's speed as they were pushed backwards to their 13. There they would eventually have to line up for a punt going 3 and out. Greendale would find themselves in great field position as they would start from Ike's 43. This time they couldn't move the ball and they were forced to punt going 3 and out. After a nice kick by Angel Ramirez, the Lions would have to start from deep in a hole on their 7. They ran one play before Eisenhower speed demon Joey Scafidi broke through the middle of the line and hightailed it 85 yards for the score. Kicker Nate Erickson made the point after try, making the score 35-7 with 4:26 left in the third quarter. The clock would now go back to normal operating procedures. After another kick that should have been blown dead for a touchback, return man Angel Ramirez would take it out and sprint up the left sideline to the Ike's 20-yard line. There was a blocking in the back penalty, so Greendale would end up starting from their 40 instead. Greendale would get off some nice runs by the Ringelberg boys, taking the ball all the way to Ike's 2. This time, Angel Ramirez would get the call and score from 2 yards out. Josh Michaels would miss-hit the extra point, preventing the running clock from starting up again on what was ending up to be a miserable night with the cold and the rain. The score would be 41-7 with 2:16 left in the third quarter. After the ensuing kick, the Lions would begin for their 26. 3 plays later, Greendale defensive back Kennedy Steinberg would leap high into the air to snag an interception near midfield. Panthers offense was now back in business. This time, senior David Wood would be in at quarterback. They failed to move the sticks and they were forced to punt going 3 and out. After the kick, the Lions would take over from their 19. They managed to cross the field into the red zone before the number 2 Panther defense would put up the wall and stop them on downs on their 15. This time, Greendale put an 8-play clock-chewing drive together before having to line up for a punt from their 39. Angel Ramirez would get off another huge kick that rolled all the way to the Lions' 3. Eisenhower would now bring in their number 2 offense as well. On the very first play, quarterback Bryce Riesling kept it on an option and took off up the field for a huge 97-yard scoring jaunt. Point after try was good, making the score 41-14 with 1:27 left in the game. On the ensuing kick, Angel Ramirez came real close to taking it back to the house even after running out of his shoe. Wood and the boys would run 3 more plays before the game finally came to an end. The final score would be Greendale 41, New Berlin Eisenhower 14. Tonight was a perfect example of just how many weapons Greendale has. They make it very difficult for the opposing teams to defend. You can't call them a running team or a passing team, so keying on a certain area is impractical, as 5 different players scored for Greendale tonight. The fast and rangy defense led by their linebacking core of Tristan Pipp, Matt Schutte, and Ty Ramirez make it extremely difficult to run up the middle. Then you have the speed of Jack Ringelberg and Angel Ramirez on the perimeter, so running outside is pretty much impossible. Greendale will now take to the road to pay a visit to the New Berlin West Vikings. They have not won a game yet this year, so they will have to dig deep to find a way to stop the Panthers' offense, which nobody has done yet this year. That game is scheduled to start at 7 o'clock. Hope to see you all there. So long.